Today, we're in the Museum of Modern Art, MoMA for short. It's located in Manhattan, New York. You may have been there before, and you may have seen masterpieces by the famous French painter called Claude Monet. We're going to start by reading this book, Where is the Frog? A children's book inspired by Claude Monet. We're also going to make our own work of art inspired by Monet, and we're going to learn a little bit more about his life. So let's read Where is the Frog? The painting that we're going to be doing will look a little bit like this. One of Monet's favorite things to paint was a pond with water lilies and flowers. Our painting is going to have a bridge that's going over the pond. Look out! A frog hunter! Without a moment's hesitation, Antoinette hops between the irises and vanishes deep beneath the water. Calm down, Gargoyle, groans a toad. There's no need to worry. The man only sketches flowers. He doesn't eat frogs' legs. And the man is Monet. Flowers? Did someone say flowers? Antoinette slips from her hiding place and admires her reflection in the water. In that case, I'm the perfect catch. Come and take a look. Seriously, I'm at least as pretty as a water lily. Just a little mint leaf in the water. From the corner of her eye, she watches the old man standing among the poppies. Mr. Claude, a white beard and a bunch of brushes, an easel and a hat. The great flower hunter seems to be looking for something. The painter walks slowly back and forth in the garden, a daisy here, a dahlia there. He lightly touches the petals, glances up at the sky, and adjusts to the flowers. He stops at the foot of the little bridge and sets up his stool and easel. All ready? It's now or never. Just as Mr. Claude pulls out his painting tubes and sets up his palette. Hop! Antoinette leaps onto a water lily. The coquette powders the tip of her nose, and then she's ready. Careful, don't move a muscle. But first her right leg starts to tickle, and then her left. How can she pose without wriggling when it feels like she has springs beneath her feet? Ouch! Antoinette is about to give up when, phew, the church bell rings and the painter leaves for lunch. Free at last, the poor little frog hobbles back to the bridge to admire her portrait in the finished sketch. But where's the frog? By Jove, what a fool I am. Green on green. Of course you can't see a thing. The following day, the sun is high in the sky by the time Mr. Claude comes down to the garden. He brings a basket to his studio boat. Antoinette leaps onto a nearby dinghy. Hop, hop. But where's the frog? Good gracious, these twigs need trimming. A few days later, in the shade of an old willow tree, the white-bearded man gazes at the water lilies. Antoinette, perched on a branch, sways and swings in the wind. But, are those your little frog legs I see? Taunts a heron with an appetite. If so, I could eat them in one gulp. After a fright like that, Antoinette is exhausted. Spotting a nest at the foot of the willow tree, she climbs in and falls right asleep. Hey, there's something in my hat, exclaims the surprised painter. How funny. I almost mistook it for a green water lily. And he picks up his brush. When Antoinette wakes up, she can't believe her eyes. There on the canvas, right in front, There she is at last. She's become the muse, the nymph, the queen of this flowery garden. How beautiful she looks. Come close so that I can kiss you, says Antoinette to the portrait facing her. She quickly jumps toward the canvas and splash! Everything tumbles into the water. The easel, the brushes, the frog, and her picture. Antoinette was never seen again. And Mr. Claude never really got over it. The masterpiece has remained missing ever since. At the back of this book, there are some masterpieces by Claude Monet. This particular painting is called The Water Lily Pond. Here's some more masterpieces. If you want to learn a little bit more about Claude Monet's life, we have plenty of books about him in the library. This book is in our biography section. Portrait of an Artist, Claude Monet. This book, The Garden of Monsieur Monet, is also in our biography section. Your supply list should be in the art kit that you picked up from the library. Here are the items that we're going to be working with today. Our first step is to use masking tape to make a tape bridge on our canvas. You should have a roll of masking tape in your art kit. Just take the roll of masking tape and unroll it. Now you don't want to make the bridge straight across. We want to make it curved. So we're going to cut small pieces of the masking tape. Like I mentioned, it's going to be a curved bridge. So you want to cut about 2 or 3 inch pieces of tape and create the bridge gradually. Once you get toward the middle, you want to start curving the bridge downward. Just connect the pieces of tape and shape the bridge in a curve. Now we're going to make the bottom part of the bridge in the same way. Just cut about 2 or 3 inch pieces of tape and connect the pieces of tape to make a curved bridge. So now we're going to make the rails of the bridge. I'm going to cut about 1 inch pieces of tape and place them about 2 inches apart to look like rails. Now we're using masking tape because the masking tape peels off easily. Once we paint our painting, we're going to wait for it to dry and pull the masking tape off very carefully. Then it's going to look like a bridge is in the middle of our painting. This is one of Monet's paintings. It shows water lilies in a pond and a Japanese bridge. We're going to try to make our painting look a little bit like this, but it's going to be our own work of art, so you can be as creative as you like. Here's another picture of Monet's water lilies and Japanese bridge. We're mostly going to be using green and blue paint. We're going to be adding a little bit of red and a little bit of yellow throughout the painting. You can also use your paper plate to blend the colors. We're going to be using foam paintbrushes. We can also use a regular paintbrush if we want to add little finishing touches to the painting. In between the colors, make sure that you wash your brush. You can rinse it in the paper cup or rinse it in the sink very carefully. We're going to start with green up in the left corner of the canvas. You may notice that instead of painting straight across or up and down on the canvas, I'm using a dabbing technique. That means I pat the paint on to the canvas. Keep adding paint to your paintbrush and just pat it onto the canvas. For this painting, we're going to be doing a lot of layering and blending. This adds texture to our painting. You can continue dabbing green paint onto the sides of the canvas, or you can use your foam paintbrush or regular paintbrush to start dabbing some. Now, Claude Monet was an Impressionist painter. That's a style of art, and he was one of the founders of that style. That means that the things he painted didn't look exactly like what he was looking at. It looked like an impression of it. So that's why Claude Monet's paintings look like they're a little bit blurry or far away, because you're really just looking at his impression of what he was looking at. If you want to make the green a little bit lighter, you can take the green, put some on your paper plate, and mix it with some yellow. Then the green color looks a little bit lighter, like this. Now I'm going to add some blue in the middle here. So that'll be the water. Just keep blending and layering by dabbing with your paintbrush or the foam paintbrush. You can paint on the masking tape if you like, because we're going to pull that off of the canvas once the paint dries. You can follow the color scheme that I'm using, or you can make your own, because this is just an impression of a pond with water lilies and a bridge. You can pretend that you're looking at a pond and paint what you see. I'm going to add some more green using the paintbrush. Maybe dab a little green on the top part here, because that'll look like some trees far away. We're not really making any straight lines in this painting. most of what we're doing is dabbing the paint onto the canvas. The only time I really paint straight lines is to paint the sides of the canvas. That just helps your painting look more complete, so you don't have any white space on the sides of the painting. If you'd like to blend your colors a little bit more, just take a different color and dab it on top of another color. So again, I got the lighter green by blending green and a little bit of yellow. So you can take some green and some yellow, put it on your paper plate and blend it together. And you get a brand new color. So now we're going to add a little bit of red. The red kind of looks like the sun is setting on the water. Everything on our canvas is going to be blended together. So even though the red looks a little bit dark right now, we're going to blend it in. You can touch up colors wherever you like. This is your impression of a pond with water lilies. So if you think you see a certain color in a certain part of the painting, you can blend that in. I made orange by blending red and yellow on my paper plate. Just gonna add some touches of orange. You should have 2 cupcake cups in your art kit. I'm going to take the cupcake cup and fold it in half. First, I'm going to paint the cupcake cup green. I'm just going to take some school glue, put a little bit on the back, and very gently place it on the painting. I'm going to take one more cupcake cup and fold it in half. You can even fold it unevenly. Doesn't have to be a perfect fold. And again, just dab the paint on it. Do the inside of it as well, or just leave the inside white. Put some school glue on the back and place it wherever you like. I'm going to dab a tiny bit of orange on the lily pads. I'm going to take the thin paintbrush and just add some dots to the lily pads. You can also add little dots here and there in the painting. Kind of looks like little flowers throughout the pond. We're going to let this dry for about 2 hours, and then we're going to peel the masking tape off of the canvas, and it's going to look like there's a bridge going across the water. While this dries, let's learn a little bit more about Claude Monet's life. Claude Monet was a French artist. He was born in Paris, France, on November 14, 1840. In 1851, Monet began attending school. He studied many subjects, including art. Monet was one of the first artists to become known as an Impressionist. The title came from his painting, Impression Sunrise. Many people did not like the painting, saying that it looked unfinished. The label Impressionist was meant to be an insult, but Monet and other artists welcomed the name. Because Impressionism was not popular at first, Monet could not sell paintings, but he always stayed true to his art. Finally, people in the United States became interested in Impressionism, and France later caught on to the trend. Monet became famous for his paintings. Claude Monet died in France on December 5, 1926. Today, the art of Monet is an inspiration to many artists around the world. Now it's time to reveal our masterpiece. Our painting has dried, and I'm going to remove the tape very carefully and slowly. There we are. There's our Monet, water lily, and Japanese bridge painting.